there is. A lot of big events in Hastings. Bonfire, carnival, even the marathon shows just how much community there is.
I've met a lot of people down here. I've actually formed quite a satisfying social life.
It's the diversity of the people here. It's the characters. Obviously, it's a very bohemian sort of feel about it with the artists and the musicians.
A lot of live bands.
We have the most beautiful countryside in East Sussex.
You can go from being in the town centre to the Rock and All, where it kind of looks like a deserted island.
It's such a healthy place. The air is changed daily by the sea breezes. We get more vitamin D rich sunshine than anywhere else in the country.
The value and the improvement that I've seen in 20 years has been amazing to be part of.
There have been books written about it since the 19th century about how healthy Hastings is. So it's really paradoxical that this is where we're seeing reduced life expectancy.
What are the causes of death in Hastings? What are they dying of?
But I think employment, especially in the winter months, employment's tough for people because it's a tourist town and people struggle to find work.
It's boredom, right? There's nothing else to do and it's an escape.
And that can lead to depression, that can lead to suicide.
Well, there's plenty of homeless around which can't be helping, can it?
Probably because most of them are alcoholics or something like that.
Hastings had a name for being quite rife with heroin, right? In fact, it had a nickname, Brown Town.
The thing is, in Hastings, it is easy to, take drugs and use drugs because it's normal. It's very socially acceptable and it shouldn't be.
And in the last 15, 20 years, the amount of my friends that have died because they liked a bit of drink, the drugs, both together.
And some people feel the drugs are helping their mental health.
Yeah, because it's good for pain and it's good for my mental health and it's really good physically. Look at me, I'm 60, I can do what I want.
But in the long term, they then find it's causing the problems.
The addicts and drinkers are actually migrating to Hastings. Okay, they picked up their problem somewhere else initially, and they've come to Hastings with it.
I was shocked at the poverty in Hastings, shocked at the amount of homeless people around that nobody seems to bat an eyelid about.
Loneliness.
We're probably, I think, amongst the most overlooked group of people that there possibly could be in the country.
People struggle to ask for help because they don't know it's available.
How do you talk to somebody about it? Where do you talk to somebody about these things? Where do you go to if you're like me and you haven't opened an envelope for 2 years?
I would assume that all those services would cost me money, which and they would be expensive because we're talking about professionals, and so generally speaking, I would suspect that I wouldn't get the help I needed.
Fortunate, I have a lot of really lovely friends, and a friend of mine sent me a text message with a phone number and told me that they'd paid for me to go and have 2 sessions with a counsellor.
I think men find it hard to reach out.
They're not particularly keen to go and access health. They see it as a sign of weakness, they're embarrassed. All the same things, whether you're from Iran or whether you're from St Leonard's or whatever, it's going to be the same.
So I think that loneliness and a feeling of alienation are massively powerful emotions. What am I? I've got feelings of no self-worth at all.
COVID was a very bad time for that, because all of these distractions were knocked dead. Half the people I know fell off the wagon.
I was actually struggling very bad mentally when lockdown came at the time. And I used to sit in my chalet over there for hours and hours, and I couldn't do anything. And because I do struggle, we lost our son a few years ago, and he took his life in this wood. So I struggle, and my wife struggles with life.
And a lot of the time when someone tries to get help in Hastings, they will see you for a few weeks and go, well, there's nothing else we can do, you're fine.
The drug rehabilitation service in the town centre, when I rang them to re-book with them, they said, well, if you're clean, we don't want to see you again. Like, if someone's doing well, why not give them help when they're doing well? Why can't they, you know, have appointments where they have a consultant and a drug counsellor there? But then I'm told they don't have the funding to give you a consultant and counselling.
We can't afford that anymore. Everything stops. No, it doesn't. We're retooling. We have to retool and reinvent and represent.
I think that is one of the most positive things about Amanda Brothers, because you go and you meet all these different men with different experiences who could be 20 years older, 40 years older, even older, and they all grown up differently. They all have these different experiences, meaning that you get to hear all sorts of different stories.
My personal experience with drugs has actually given me a career, if you like, because of my experience. I can help others to sort of recover.
I wanted to see people that I could think, well, they've had it and look at them. So we made a conscious effort that we would become sort of not role models as such, but show people that you can move on.
I know for me personally, that really helps me look at what I can do.
It's knowing that there's other people like you. On my YouTube channel, I actually tell the lads, whatever you think, if you're struggling, I struggle, so you're not alone.
Having men in my community mentor me helps me see that it's a community, not just a normal town, not just people doing their jobs. It's people wanting to help other people get through their issues.
Then this is what I've done all my life. I film my town, I put on concerts for old people, I do concerts at the Opus, at the Bella Vista, at the Kino. They're all reasonably priced. I have the top musicians. I give people a show that they can't get in London for a tenner, and they're going to London spending a fortune. And they are packed out with 400 or 500 people from Hastings. If everyone does this, works as a community, as one, we can change the world. You know, well, this town, forget the world, change this town. If this town's good, everything else is good. So if you give and get a pleasure, you've sold it.
I think you have to find people who are connected with that cohort of men, 50 to 70, and respected amongst them, and support them, probably financially to an extent, to engage them in lifestyle changes.
Some ideas for Hastings I feel would be good is a mental health food bank, a local support helpline that can signpost you to local services, mental health apprenticeships, whether that be peer support, counselling, CBT therapy, etc., a suicide prevention workshop, an alcohol-free social club, stigma prevention workshops, inpatient peer support, a mental health friendly gym.